Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'm Whitney Blaylock, a regional coordinator for the State Department of Career Tech. As regional coordinators, we serve as a liaison between the state agency and school administrators across Oklahoma. At this time, I'm going to take the opportunity to introduce our OEIP team members. Gina Hubbard, who is the Manager of Education and Partnerships and Customized Services Division, and other regional coordinators with us today are Kara Pattison, Karen Talbot, Delbo Leach, Patrick Clannon, and Lori Loffer, and a new addition to our team is Justin Seiler. This year, for the first time, we are offering the OEIP experience monthly for 1 hour online Zoom sessions throughout the 2020-2021 school year. This is our fifth session for the year, and we are excited to provide you with some great ideas for connecting industry inside of your classrooms. If you have missed out on our previous OEIP sessions this year, they are recorded and are available on the Career Tech YouTube channel. We will be posting that link in the chat. Our goal is to provide insight for educators to better understand what industry needs are in Oklahoma in hopes of preparing their students to develop a career pathway towards personal success. Before introducing our presenter today, we would like to say a special thank you to our sponsors that have supported the OEIP effort this year. Those sponsors are on the screen, and they include Kiamichi Tech Labs, Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, the Oklahoma Manufacturing Alliance, the Oklahoma Business Roundtable, and Career Tech. In addition, these sponsors are providing a $50 gift card opportunities to a couple of lucky participants today. We ask that you turn your cameras on, and we hope that you find this information beneficial to your school and classroom. So now, let's get started for what you're here for today. Our highlight session today features Kris Williams from Kiamichi Tech at the Poto Spiro campus. Kris has taught nearly 20 years as a public school teacher, working with K-12 students in the classroom, leading their school's 21st Century Grant after-school program and organizing summer camps. As a career specialist, she gets to think of ways to expose students to career opportunities and engage them to see past their obstacles to be anything they want to be if they add a healthy dose of hard work. She loves her job working with students and not having to grade papers. So I'm going to turn it over to Kris for her presentation for you guys.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. I'm just kind of wondering who I've got here. And so I'm going to use that camera that you've turned on.
Kris, you're muted.
$50 gift card. But I'm wondering who are my Career Tech people in that business. If you'll raise your hand and give me a thumbs up, I'm going to treat you good. I'm seeing. How about some of my public?
Hey, Kris, we can't hear you. Can you guys?
Okay, I'm going to talk again. Is that corrected? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Great. I'm treating you like I would with my Zoom kids in the classroom. Okay, I'm going to look at my public school people again. Do I have any elementary public school people out there? Just kind of looking to see who my crew is. And then how about middle school? And then high school? And then maybe some other groups out there that I didn't mention. So sorry if I didn't mention your group. Okay, I just kind of wanted to see who was out there. That's what I do in any session, just see who I'm talking to. And so, as Whitney said, that I've worked in public school for almost 20 years, teaching a variety of grades as different opportunities came up for me, K through 12, done some after school 20th century grant programming and with summer school and those kinds of things. So I've really been blessed with having lots of experience or lots of opportunities to work with kindergarten through 12th grade students. And so the funny thing is when I took this job 2 years ago, getting out of the public school system into Career Tech, I have 4 kids at home. I had twin girls and a 14-year-old son, and now a 4th grade little spunky girl. And when she was probably in 2nd grade at the time. And I was telling them what my new job was going to be because they realized they weren't going to get to come to my classroom after school and play on my computers. And that really bummed them out. And so I was telling them what I was going to get to do, go into classrooms and talk about careers and teach kids that there's lots of things out there for them if they just put their mind to it. And her little 2nd grade self said, so you're going to have to learn about every job out there. And it kind of hit me that, yeah, I think I might have to. And so I have spent my last 2 years here trying to learn about as many jobs as I can. I'm having a good time with it, and I am learning as much as kids are doing and with the different things that we do. And so I'm having a good time with that. So I'm really proud that when my director of my campus had the foresight to see that we needed to be involved in elementary, middle schools, and high schools in a different way. ICAP, of course, helped that, but getting the opportunity to go in and work with students to let them know there are so many things out there for them is really fun. And so I do a presentation. I'll talk about my Zoom part in just a second, but I do a 4th grade presentation to all 18 of my partner schools. And when I go in there and introduce myself, I want to tell them why I'm here, that it's not too early to start talking about careers and thinking about what you're going to be and start researching that. And I always tell them, you don't want to live your life being a gamer, living on your mom and dad's couch for the rest of your life, do you? And most of the kids in the classroom, when I'm doing a personal presentation, laugh and no, but they always inevitably point to like 2 or 3 kids in the class and smile. And those 2 or 3 kids are like so proud that they're going to live on their mom's couch and be a gamer for the rest of their lives. And so it's just a fun way for us to introduce that there are other things out there besides your plan to make yourself rich being a YouTuber. But that's the really fun part, like I said, to let them know that there's so many things for them. They just have to put their mind to it. Doesn't matter their income level, what's happening in their family, because I have a history of poverty back in my family that someone decided to change and have a different mindset. And so I want them to know it doesn't matter what you're coming from, that you just have to put a little bit of hard work into it. So let me talk about a few of the things that we get to do here at Kiamichi Tech and Poto Spiral campuses with this career specialist program in our outreach. So one of the new things is that Zoom with the Pro that we're doing. And I don't know that this is anything mind-boggling or new, but I don't know how many of us really knew that Zoom existed before COVID happened. And so that has really reached out on opportunities and let us be more techie. And so we grabbed that and wanted a way to still get into those classrooms teaching about careers. Because as a teacher, and I'm mainly 5th grade teacher for a lot of my career, I wanted professionals in my classroom. I just sometimes didn't have the time to schedule them to get in my classroom, or I didn't make the time. So now I get to tell those teachers out there that I get to do it for you. And you can rely upon me to take care of those things. Let me know what you need and we'll take care of it. So Zoom with the Pro basically works like this, that I set up a session for our 18 outreach partner schools. And this is kindergarten through 5th grade, this part of that program. And so I do 2 different series. I do a K through 2nd grade series and a 3rd through 5th grade, because I just didn't think a 5th grader wanted to be on a Zoom call with a kindergartner asking questions to a fireman. And so I thought the maturity level was a little bit different. So that's why we do 2 different sections of that. And I usually have 2 pros, and I'll have one for that K through 2nd grade section, and I'll get them for 2 days in a row for a 30-minute session. And so I usually try to get, a morning time and then an afternoon time for those kindergarten through 2nd grade classrooms to jump in, because you know that we can't skip PE, right? So we have to have different opportunities for them to jump into that session. And we do the same thing for our 3rd through 5th grade. And I've kind of been scheduling them the same week because it just makes it a little bit easier on me on organizing. So I get a professional out there. And this is a great way for us to partner with our industry people out there, professionals, a great way to enhance our relationships, to make new ones, because a lot of them like sharing what they do in their job and the fun parts of it. And so I like that this is a connection out to that real world. And so we'll do this 2 times a week. We'll offer a 30-minute session. And so that classroom just zooms in as many as I can get on the screen, very much like this. I wish I had this many at one time. That would be awesome, but we're still catching on. So we just launched this in October, and we did a few trial runs with it. And so they jump in. We have 20 minutes of that professional talking about their job. Let me correct that. show and tell about their job, because I want very little screen talking like I'm doing to you now. This is like would not be a good Zoom session for me, because I want them showing gadgets, showing how they work, showing problems, showing what they deal with. I want lots of showing, because I want to keep their attention. I want them to know every time you tune in to this Zoom, it is going to be a quality presentation, even though your kids, a few of your kids, a lot of your kids may not care to be that field or may not care to do that job. They're going to learn some stuff and learn some really good things. And I find myself sitting there listening and learning lots, wishing that I'd had 20 more lives to live so that I could be different jobs out there too that sound really interesting in asking them questions about. So let me show you a quick little video. Hopefully I can maneuver this sharing. So you get just a little touch of two different Zooms. I kind of focused in or zoomed in to the screen so you didn't really see kids around, but it looks just like what you're seeing on your screen now. Classrooms all over there, taking care of business, but watching what's going on. And so I just tried to avoid on this one to show them. Let me see if I'm qualified. Stop me, Whitney, if something's not working right when I get going here.
I think so far.
I have to do a really good checkup on dogs and cats because they're not like people. They can't come in here and tell me what's wrong with them or how they're feeling. We have to look and find the problems. So the first place I always start is with their face. And we're always going to give a good look at your puppy dog's eyes, make sure everything's nice and clear. And then we're also going to look into his ears. And Toby's being really good for this because his eyes and ears are very, very healthy. It's probably my favorite room because this is actually our surgery room. So we've got a table right here that your puppies and kitties will lay on anytime they have to have surgery to make them feel better. Or if they're going to get spayed or neutered so that they can't have babies. We monitor all of their vital signs right here. We've got monitors that check their heart rate and their breathing. They get IVs during the procedure. This x-ray is on a kitty cat, and this kitty cat had been shot by a bullet. So we've actually got a really bad break in there, if y'all can see it. And then the cool thing about x-rays is bullets and metal show up bright white. So you can actually see those parts right there.
We also have the back of our helicopter opens up. And so our patients go in and out of the helicopter from the back. My partner Richard's going to take the cot out, and then we're going to show you how we would load a patient if we were taking a patient in or out of our helicopter. So our cot comes out, and we go straight to the patient with our cot. Whether we're on a scene or we're in a hospital setting, we can go, and once we get our patient on the cot and secured with our safety straps, we then can put the patient back into the helicopter without having to bring out any other personnel. Once we get the patient in, you can see there's not a lot of room in our helicopter. Looks pretty compact. This brown bag, we're one of a very unique group of services that offer this. But this brown bag that you see right here in the back of our helicopter has 2 units of blood and 2 units of plasma. That is so crucial when we have a patient that's had a traumatic injury and they're bleeding inside or if they're bleeding externally. No matter what the reason for the bleeding, if they need blood, we can go ahead and start giving that before they reach the hospital. That's very crucial to people that are losing blood and does save a lot of lives. Our helicopter then closes up in the back.
What do you do if both engines fail?
If both engines fail, we have some safety protocols in place, and our pilots are very well trained in what to do. Those rotors that are on top of our helicopter, the things that go around and around, you can do a maneuver, what's called an auto rotation, and those rotors will continue to fly while our pilot puts the brake on them. And that pilot can make it drift to the ground, and it would be what's called a hard landing, but it would keep us upright. So our pilots are very trained in what to do if we do have an engine failure.
So that's just a little snippet of 2 of our professionals. They go, like I said, about 15 to 20 minutes telling all kinds of great things. Oh, I've got something else going. Let me stop that. Pretend you don't see it. Okay, I think we're good now. And so those questions, you know, you saw those boxes that we kind of zoomed in and hit around. These kids are coming up to the screen asking questions, and I love it. And so this fits some of their Oklahoma academic standards in reading and being willing to speak out in front of a group and discuss classroom discussions. I have teachers that email me telling me they discussed it more after it. They also talk about it ahead of time. And so it's just a great opportunity. It's so fun to see little kids coming up to the screen asking their question. Some of them have it prepared on a sheet because their teacher went over it with them, and some are just asking off the top of their head. And we go through that firing those questions at that professional, getting lots of things answered. And I don't hold back asking questions either, because I'm a lifelong learner as a teacher too. And so we get lots learned right then. So of course, when we first started this, we had to poll a few teachers, a few counselors and principals out there to see, is this something you would use? And they said yes. We tried to figure out the time frame, how to, did we offer many sessions or one or what? So this is how we've kind of landed on the structure that we have right now, is getting their opinion and seeing what will they really use. And so we asked them for that, of course. And then we did a trial run back in October, September. And I love the word trial run, because you get to make mistakes and they don't count against you. So I've learned in my position, I call them trial runs when I want to do something and I work the kinks out. So we did that with two professionals. We used our criminal justice instructor, who was awesome. And we did a dog groomer. We had about 5 or so classrooms that we specifically asked, that I asked to join in and give us some feedback. So that's how we worked out some kinks. We still have some things that we want to work on, because we want to, of course, improve viewership and how many tune in. And sometimes, Zoom is a hidden secret. Things like this are sometimes a hidden secret that people need to share and know about. So we're trying to up those numbers. And so I usually send out a flyer about a week and a half ahead of time when I've secured who I'm getting. So about a week and a half, I send them a flyer that promotes it. And let me share that with you real quick. Let's see if I'm qualified to share. Oh, there we go. Oh, am I sharing now? Are you seeing it, Whitney? Great. Okay, so this is a flyer that we had to cancel this one, or not cancel it, but we're rescheduling it because it was through that crazy snowstorm last week. And so the flyer's already made, of course. So we send this out to teachers, counselors, principals of these target age groups. And I have an email list that has every teacher in my district, every grade level. So it took a while to develop that. But that I want to give them a personal invitation, and they request things back from me, or we, chat and develop a relationship, for those that I don't know. And so this was our next one. And I just think that's a great shot of our fire chief in our area. Of course, we put the times. We try to tell them here how to set up your Zoom. We have a little bio on him. I try to get little quotes from different teachers in the area. So I branch out, trying to get buy-in, trying to get people to realize, hey, somebody at your school gave me a quote, so they're watching. So we want to encourage you to jump in too and watch. And then we have that lesson reinforcement here, and I'll show you that. I don't know if my cursor dancing around it, Whitney. Right. And so we have that lesson reinforcement of a pre and post lesson that we send out if they want it. I used to send it out automatically, but now it's just if they request it, because once they have it, they have it. It also is in fillable format, but I'll show you that in a second. Pretty simple. And then I'm really pushing Oklahoma academic standards, because I was in that classroom. I know that those are important. So I want to show, how does this relate, other than it just being a good thing, which it's funny, one of my coworkers in the office, when I'm saying everyone should jump in, these are so good, not because of me, it's that professional that's doing such a great job, and these kids are learning, and they'll catch me at Walmart and say, hey, you're that Zoom lady, and I'm okay with being the Zoom lady now. And so I want to show them how that relates to standards. And so a coworker in the office said, even whoever, the vacuum salesperson thinks everyone needs a certain vacuum, and that's true. But I really do think that every classroom needs this Zoom session. And plus, my product is free for them. And so that's why I'm pushing it. I think it's a great hidden gem. And so this is what I write up for every presentation I have. I'm going to show you that quick pre-lesson. I can get it to cooperate. Hang on, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Okay, now I think it's up there. And so it's pretty simple. I think I need to jazz it up some more, but it's in fillable format. And this is the pre worksheet, and there's a post one that's similar but different questions. And so this is fitting for the kid that's quarantined, the school that's quarantined or whatever, that they can send this out and they can fill it out and send it right back. So I kind of experienced that lack of being a fillable paper with my 4 kids doing homework and virtual stuff through these almost last year. And so I knew that that was an important thing that I wanted to add there. Let me get back to, I hope I'm not sharing now. And so that worksheet is optional for that teacher. If they wanted to take a grade, it's another way to make what we're doing more marketable, give it more strength that we want to add to that session. If it wasn't good enough, we want to give them reasons why they should jump in. And then we really think about who we want to showcase, as you would in your business with what you're doing. So I really think through that. I need a teacher type person, because not everyone can work with kids and answer questions that are fun and sometimes silly. And so we really think about who is it that we want to, can ask, and we kind of think about who do we know. So I don't just necessarily want a fireman. I want someone that I know is really relatable to kids and can do show and tell. And so that's really key. I mean, there's great people out there, great professionals, and some just kind of have that natural knack to teach kids and work with them. So I really have learned a lot through this since the beginning on how to prep my professionals the way that I would want. Since I'm telling you that I was a teacher, I knew what I wanted in my classroom. I knew what hands-on. I knew I wanted you to impress me and wow me, and not spend maybe so much on education and your background of how you got to your point. I asked them to only spend about a minute on that, because once again, my audience is kindergarten through 5th graders, and they're wanting to know how much money you make and what's fun about your job. And so we make sure that we hit that. And so we send this out to all 18 partner schools. So for each session or series, a K through 2nd grade, that would be 110 teachers that I can reach. That's the same for 3rd through 5th grade, 110 teachers in our 18 school area, because obviously some schools have multiple 2nd grades or 5th grades. And so we have the potential of reaching about 4,000 K through 5th grade students in our areas every time. Are we doing that yet? Not yet, but we're working on it, on ways to promote and get people to realize this hidden secret. So everyone that joins in, they say it's great. They love it. These kids are enjoying it. They love getting them to ask questions. As long as I don't schedule it during PE time, then usually I'm in pretty good shape. But we love that we can reach possibly 4,000 kids someday, and showing them there's other alternatives to playing games all day, sitting on their mom's couch. And so we want them to know there's lots of good things out there. So I'm basically through with, I need to tell you a few that we've had. We've had an automobile mechanic, a criminal justice instructor, dog groomer, paramedic, flight nurse. You saw her there. She was incredible. She also collects, she works for organ donations and rides that helicopter to do that part, which is really interesting. We had a physical therapist, a baker, a nurse practitioner. She even sewed up and did stitches on a little chicken, not a real one, y'all, not a real chicken, but a chicken breast, which is what they learned in school, in med school, to sew up those to sutures and get those wounds closed back up. And so she showed that, which was great. My vet that you saw there was really great. And here's the cool thing about what she did. She knew that the next day she would be performing for us again. So when she did it, this is just so sweet. Y'all are going to be really touched like me, that she did an operation and saved the internal organs to show us on the screen. Don't you think that's really sweet? I'm just teasing about that, but it was really cool how she described it. And she was correct and proper in showing, and the kids like, they like some yucky stuff sometimes. And so they really liked it. She even had the foresight to one day when I had her the second time to schedule an emergency C-section 10 minutes before our Zoom session. The little dog had to come in and deliver 7 little baby puppies. Now, we didn't plan that, but I get a call from her office staff 20 minutes before, 30 minutes before, saying she's got an emergency C-section during your Zoom session. And they know that I'm really adamant about not canceling these because I have to blast out a big email and I don't want to disappoint classes and teachers. So I would get a substitute in that case. And that kind of is a work in progress, but I've had to do it before. Usually I have more than 30 minutes of notice, but thankfully, I'm a pretty good convincer of an office manager. And I said, you and I both know we've seen her do this a lot. So you know what to say and what to show. And so I talked her into it and she did a phenomenal job. And then my vet came in the last 10 minutes to answer questions because she was done. So we got to see those little baby puppies like they were in the nursery at the hospital. So the kids love that. So I'm excited about this. This is a fun program, one of the outreaches that we do. I have a few more things I want to share with you, but Whitney, if I have any questions I need to answer, I'm happy to do that.
Yes, there's a couple of questions that go with this before you move on to some of the other stuff. The first question is from Stephanie Hodges, and she says that she loves the concept of the professional videos. Have you found any particular approach to business and industry to encourage their participation, or any groups that you participate in for networking?
Okay, I'm going to have to hear the last part of that again to make sure I'm hitting it right.
Have you found any particular approach to business and industry to encourage their participation?
Okay, on that, if you're just talking about this Zoom series, then that is not a hard thing, especially when I'm working with my local community. And we're probably about 12 to 15,000 in our service area of population. So that has not been hard for me. It's not real hard on this, if we're talking about this Zoom with a pro, to get people to say yes to me. If they are, I try to pick the right person. I don't just ask anybody when someone in the office says, hey, my friend's neighbor's best friend's uncle does that job. I need to check out who the uncle is and see, is he a teacher type, and can he show and tell? And so, but I don't have any problem getting people to say yes. And here's my other deal. When I ask them or call them, I usually do an in-person visit just so they see me. But when I ask them and they're like, I'm not sure, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Because I want a sure thing, because I feel like my reputation is also kind of on the line, that I want to make sure I'm bringing good things to these teachers and to these kids. So if they're not sure, then I'm not in the business of trying to convince you on this project. And I'm going to ask around and find, who I need. And I've got a lot on the list of professions that we want. There's just not enough time to pack them in. And if I could get classrooms to quit teaching and let me do Zoom with a pro, then that'd be awesome. But once a month, we've found that is a pretty good fit for classrooms to be able to give us time.
Awesome. Another question is from Amy Smalling. I think she's from Kiamichi as well, at Idaville. It asks, how much time and what all do you do to prep your pros? Do you have to go on site and help them with the tech ahead of time? And, do you do the practice and trial run with each one beforehand?
So sometimes I do, hey Amy, so sometimes I do go and do the tech ahead of time, and usually I can handle it, but I like to be this isn't my real office, it's the office that I go in, so I'm not loud for my boss to hear me when I'm getting excited talking to classes. So I do some of the tech work, but sometimes I might have to ask an office staff to help me on that, because I have to run this and it's hard to video. And so usually they'll have a camera or their phone that they can use, or I have an iPad that I can loan, because I've had to loan, and we have a hotspot that we use that we have internet for them to video as well. So if their place of business is outside or whatever's going on, my lineman for Kiamichi electric lineman that I need to reschedule because of the snow, I was going to handle all that tech while he climbed a pole, and we were going to get that. And so that end is me. On the practice and trial run, this kind of goes against what I normally do, but I don't do a trial run just because I know they're giving me two 30-minute chunks of their life back to back usually, and I just don't do a trial run. But I try to make sure I do my homework ahead of time and pick the right person that says, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, and that will be exciting. So that's who I want. And then I go through some things and talk to them on the phone on what I want. So I've learned from that, made a few mistakes in the beginning, hoping they understood what I was looking for to make it the very best for our students. And I've learned I need to be more detailed, and I have been, and letting them know this, I need show and tell. I need you to have lots of things. What are you going to show? And I do ask them those things. Occasionally I'm meeting them at their business or their shop, and I'm looking around and they're telling me. So sometimes I do personal visits just to increase that industry relationship, because I work with interns at our Kiamichi Tech. So our students, our adults and high school students, I work with the internship program right now. So I'm trying to foster that relationship as well. I hope that answered it.
There's just several comments in there talking about how people love the idea and like the different things that you're doing. So those are the only questions that I see right now. So if you want to, I'll let you.
Sounds good. Well, I'll get on to the next time. I'm glad you're liking it because it is a great secret and it's fun. It's really fun. I learn a lot. Like I told you, I want to do 20 different things with my life now because I learned so much from watching them, and it's really fun. Another thing that we have an outreach that we do, or that I get to do, is our 4th grade presentation that I mentioned. I'm going to eventually add 3rd grade. I was going to add 3rd grade this year as a personal presentation, but because of COVID, we kind of, took a little bit longer on some things. So my 4th grade presentation in classrooms is in person, but this past year, the tail end of them, or some point in there, we made the decision to make them Zoom. So Zoom, we worked it out, and I learned how to show things, and I did some different options on that. So what that 4th grade presentation is, I'm going to add 3rd grade soon, and I may jump down to another grade and do a personal presentation too, but probably won't back to back 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for a few reasons, just because of time and effort. But I've got other ways we're reaching those kiddos. So 4th grade presentation, I come out, I give about a class period. If their class period is 45 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, I pack it in there. And I'm going to show them about 7 different careers. So I'm going to show you a couple of things I show them in a classroom just to expose them to different careers, getting off the couch, not being a gamer all your life, which if you make big money, then that's awesome. And so I want to do hands-on. So some of these are hands-on, but I show some things. So this is a shock in a car. So I show them the insides of that and talk to them about what it does. Most of them don't know. So that's really cool. We can relate to having potholes around on roads. And so that makes sense. And so then I talk about that automotive industry that we provide a program for. And then I show them this Mustang engine from back in the day. And it even makes a sound. It does some light up stuff for those pistons. So I don't know a whole lot about engines, but I know enough to make me dangerous. I know enough to talk about it for a few minutes just to spark their interest. And I know about this machine. So we've went through about 2 of these, trying to find the one that fit what I thought would wow. And if I could hold my camera or microphone up to this one in the classroom, I'll soon figure out how to do that and make it booming. But they are impressed with this. It goes longer. It really revs up. So you can imagine a group of 4th graders, they enjoy seeing this. And so we talk about that. I also I talk a little longer on that. I dropped something. Also talk about our welding program. So I don't just stick with trades, because I can talk about college, I can talk about military, any of those careers. I try to bring some of that in, because I want kids to find what fits them and what they're going to excel at. And they have a niche in the world. So I have freedom to talk about any of those. This was just a good fit last year, me grabbing the resources that were close to me. And so here's a welding torch. And so I get to talk about the different ends where we have oxygen and different things coming through there, and then how we weld something together. So I show them pieces of metal. I look around their classroom and relate it to poster sizes of things in their classroom. And I should have brought it today, but I have this dinosaur made out of metal that our welding instructor made me. I wanted something to wow 4th graders with welding. And so it's 50-piece puzzle of metal. in that we've tacked it together, or he has, to be about 10 pieces. So I can talk in 1 minute and build this big dinosaur that's about 3 foot tall, no, 2 foot tall, 3 foot wide, a velociraptor, the kids tell me it is. And so that's really cool and makes welding come to life for them. I should have had it today. I forgot about it. And then I talk about our criminal justice program. Lots of them have police officers in their family. And so I get to show them real handcuffs. No, I don't handcuff anyone because I'm not confident in my skills to undo them. But anyway, I talked to them about this, and this is the part they really love, is when I talk to them about being a detective and lifting fingerprints. And so we do that. I show them, I make up a story that their teacher, took something of mine, and we get her fingerprint because I talked her into giving me a fingerprint on my glass. And so we dust for a fingerprint, and they can see it when I show it to them on the glass. They love it. Then we do our own fingerprints. And so they all get to be interactive with that one and do a crime and do fingerprints on a card that they get to take home that they think is really cool. So we go through that process. Lots of questions about that. And then I bring out robotics. And so I talk to them about who's interested in robotics. I get lots of hands. And this is a smaller one, obviously, but we know there's lots of robotics in the world. So I have visited a couple of pharmacies in my area, and one of my local pharmacies produces 10,000 bottles a day for the area. And so he took me on a tour. So I was thrilled to go on that tour and see how robotics works in 2 different pharmacies. So we talk about that field, and I talk about how this goes down the line and gets a label put on it and all kinds of things. So mine's a cheaper, about $50 thing, but it's really cool to try to bring that to life for them and for them to see. And then I also have snap circuits that I bring those 4th graders. So they all get this package, this box. I don't have it around. Actually, I'm going to grab it and pull it off for you. But this cool snap circuits from this company. And I've seen them around, but I order one for everyone in the classroom. And so they get an introduction to electricity, and we talk about that. And then they get the hands-on portion of this. And so they build something on there. I'm just going to show it instead of doing my document camera. So they build something, we turn off the lights, and they let that little light shine. And this is 4th graders, but I could do this with 5th grade. I just have to sell it. No problem. Then we put this egg on, and we turn off the lights, and everyone's ooh and all, and you probably can't see that very good. But when the lights are off, it is really cool. And so they get an introduction to electricity, and we talk a little bit more about that career in the salary that you make. And then for my electricity finale, this is the really cool project that our electrical instructor made. And so here is the light switch, and it's got some nails on them. I was going to do it for you today, but it's been in its box for a while, and the nails are a little rusty, so I didn't want to cause an explosion. But I take a real pickle, and I put them between those nails and put them on this little holder here. And we turn off the lights. I turn it on, and because of the sodium in it and the juice, and we talk about pickles and what they're made of and everything, because of that sodium and juice in there, the pickle literally lights up and glows like a light. And so we all talk about our love of pickle sickles, and that we don't think an electrician goes into the house and makes a pickle light up, but it would be a really cool career. So this is a good finale. And then the cool thing is it kind of smokes because of the juice and all. And I pack up real quick and I leave and get out of there because it smells a little like a freight train. And so that is basically in 5 minutes or whatever that is, a 4th grade program that we do and talk about careers and talk about researching and Googling careers. So I feel like definitely hitting it on getting them interested. And then one of the recent presentations I had to a 4th grade class, and we do this in about an hour class period. I ask them at the beginning what they want to be when they grow up, and they all tell me because I want to engage them and want a connection. And then at the end, she's sitting kind of close to where I'm standing, and she goes, "Oh, great. Now I want to be all those things that you just talked about." So I thought that was a great compliment, that I caused her turmoil, that she liked all of the things I showed and what we talked about in those jobs, and she also wanted to be those too. And so if you have any questions on that, I can answer them, but I'm happy to move on if I'm okay on time, but I'll be quicker on the last 1 or 2.
No, you're fine. Everybody's just putting in the comments, like just the great ideas and amazing things that you've put together. So
Good that they're liking them, because I mean, you know, we're constant learners as teachers, educators, and career tech in schools. And so we want to share ideas because we're in this deal to help all of our kids. And so we've kind of branched out to our close career tech systems on that Zoom with the Pro, because that's easy. Their schools just have to jump on in to the link that I show. So that's not any extra work. So we want to help and share that because not everyone has a career specialist. And so those are some things that are easy. So we're all teaching and working with kids. And so we're all out for the same goal. And a kid's a kid, no matter where. I want them to do a good thing and find their gift in life. So here's the next thing that's kind of a new project that I'm working on. It's called Teacher in a Tub. And basically it's supplies that are in a tub for a teacher. I wanted to call it Tubby Teachers, but I don't think it rings as well as Teacher in a Tub. So it's Teacher in a Tub officially. And it's fun when people are calling in these names. So basically, I get one of these big tubs right here that has our logo on it. I put some great supplies in it, and I'll show you some of those in a minute. A couple of these are at their trial run stage right now. So I'm getting a few teachers in my area to test them out in the classroom, give me feedback, and let me change it. Let me adjust it to fit what you need. And so Teacher in a Tub is where I come up with a lesson or an activity that fits with the Oklahoma academic standards, and it fits an area, and it connects to careers also, because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I want. I want them to teach it from a career. So I didn't pull that sheet. It's a lesson plan sheet that I have that looks snazzy, that it talks about what the objective is. What do you say as a teacher? What careers do you talk about here in salaries and things? And then let's get into the lesson. So it's pretty laid out for them. And so this is how I reach those in-between grades eventually. But right now it's going into a second grade classroom, and I'm probably going to support it with a third or fourth grade classroom too on some of these. But if I can't come give a personal presentation, I have 3 to 5 tubs that have different lessons in them that you can have, and I'll drop them off and come pick them up when you're done, because teachers might keep it for a week until they have time to do it. So one that's out there in its trial run stage with 4 teachers out there is our Owl Pellets. And if you have not, I don't know if you know about, anybody know about an Owl Pellet out there? Smile, I see smiles and hand raises, and a lot of people don't. LaQuisha says she does not know and may not want to know. So an Owl Pellet, it's a little gross, but this is cool because this is science and research, is basically an owl in a barn wherever is eating animals and fur and that kind of stuff. And then it comes back up, and it may be 2 or 3 that they can produce at a time. And so in this little foil is a little ball of hair and bones and things that is a cool science project for a 3rd, 4th, or 5th grader. It fits all those standards, but I'm going to land on one grade that it fits the most with. And I think it's 3rd grade right now because I want it to fit their curriculum. So what we would be doing is supplying the Owl Pellet, 2 kids with an Owl Pellet, and they have cool gloves like a science researcher and a nifty little wooden stick that they get to pick through it. And then on this chart, they will place those different bones that they find of that animal, or they can glue it on a sheet of paper and take it home. So my son, who is now in the 9th grade, did this in 5th grade, remembered it, loved it. So I wanted something that was memorable, that made an impact, and they're going to remember, and hopefully remember that we did it with them and brought this to them. So this one would be done in their classroom without me teaching it. So that's why I've got 3 teachers giving me lesson plans, making it connect to science and reading objectives, because there's some sheets that they fill out. They can write a story on it. I've got a couple of teachers, like I said, trying to help me strengthen that program to make sure it's an obvious winner and it relates. And so that's one of our Teacher in a Tub sessions. Oh, and we've got this book that they get to read that's really fun and a cute book. And so another one that we're doing for another classroom Teacher in a Tub is art bots. And so I get to work on these guys at home and craft them, but I've seen them on YouTube. And so I basically have the markers, take those off. We have a little motor with a battery, and I've had to figure out what can be used over and over again. So they don't keep this one, they send it back in the tub, I pick it up, and it goes to another classroom. So every one of my grades, there's about 35 classrooms for each of those grades. So ArtBot brings in STEM, it brings in a little bit of electricity, it brings in problem solving, management. I'll have a whole lesson that is built around this, so it adds strength to it and it hits on one of their Oklahoma academic standards. And I'm going to show you one last one that's going. This is for a kindergarten group, and this is our kaleidoscope that we can make with toilet paper rolls and just decorate them and put some foil in the middle. So I've got people saving toilet paper rolls all on my campus here. So because I need 700 to serve all these first or kindergartners. And so they are making these and doing kaleidoscope. Once again, I make all these relate to careers because that's what I'm about, but I want hands-on and bring it to life. So we're going to talk about some of that light and objects being transparent that are in those objectives for kindergarten first graders. And so that is it for Teacher in a Tub. And then one more thing I'm going to throw in really quickly is that I worked on some little videos. They're about 10 minutes. And I wanted professionals in my community so that I could send that link to a classroom and they could watch that professional talk about their job smushed into 10 minutes. And then we came up with questions. So there's a few minutes of questions where they kind of read off of a sheet and they say, I've had some students ask me this question or this question. So it's a total video that's going to be sent out to teachers to use it when they have 10 minutes extra in a classroom. Then throw this in there so they're getting another exposure of career awareness and different jobs out there. And that's a few of the things that we're working on right now. I really love this job. It's fun. It's fun to see little kids smile at you. It's fun to do the Zoom that I've learned to love that with kids. They come up to the screen, their little face is as close as mine is right here, and they're asking questions, and that's just hilarious. And they're asking, you know, about that puppy or that cat. How did that bullet get in that cat? How come you're having to sew that dog back up after it had those babies? And so we get all kinds of questions from depending on what group we have. Obviously, our fifth graders maybe have a few more deep questions, but that's all of these things are fun. It's fun reaching kids and working with them. They're really fun. And I don't have to grade papers like Whitney said at the beginning. No paper grading and no discipline either. So that's a win for me. I think that's it, Whitney, for what I have.
There is a question in the chat. Do you have any fun ideas for high schoolers? I can adjust for secondary, but just kind of curious.
You bet. And so for high schoolers, I of course go out and do the OK Career Guide, and I work with them on that. And we target some important things there. So I work with that. And we were going to do this year before COVID hit in February, right now, probably last week was when it was on the schedule. We were going to do a 9th through 12th career fair for them to come to. And we were going to have probably about 50 careers for our whole area, whoever wanted to come. So I don't know if you consider that fun, but to me, it's fun and interesting, kind of like some sessions you've been to before. And we were going to work with that. So we hope that that's on the schedule or on our plate for next year. Another thing that we're going to use that Zoom for, we hope, and so some things are still in, some things got on hold and some in talks for, but I'm hoping to bring Zoom with a Pro to 6th through 8th grade. And I've had counselors ask me, what are you doing? What can you do for that grade? So I can do OK Career Guide for 6th grade on up, but I also wanted to hit them with careers too. So I'm hoping that I can give them an hour and a half, 10 minutes of pros back to back on a Zoom. They halt their school schedule after achievement tests occur, and they don't send that 6th through 8th grade changing classes, and hopefully they can Zoom in for that session. I wouldn't have them ask questions. Chances are they probably don't want to ask questions on a public call. I've got 2 6th graders of my own, twins at home, that wouldn't ask questions. And so that's one thing. 6th grade, I could also go into the classroom, do a personal presentation. That's on my idea list soon, because 6th grade could still hit different things like this. You just got to sell it. And I taught 6th grade for years, so I know I just have to sell it. And it's possible it can go to any of those other grades. It just has to be the right content. But I, of course, want it all to be some kind of hands-on. And that is kind of the kicker. If you have with those groups, you know, it's a good seller. And so those are a few things that we hope to add to the mix. But, you know, we already do an 8th grade career fest, which we really love. And so it's a strategic planning scale. And so right now, a lot of my efforts are focused in that kindergarten through 5th because we haven't had anything for them. We've already had 8th, 9th, 10th grade and up on things for them at our place.
Let's see. I think.
And by the way, I'd never talked this long to a group of kids without showing them things. I even had, I tried delivering some boxes to their school and the hands-on stuff, and I would Zoom and work it here. And we actually made it happen. I was able to explain, showing my document camera what I was doing. Kids followed along. We made it happen. And so COVID taught us all that we got more in us than we thought.
Does anyone have any questions for Kris that weren't put in the chat?
I'm sure you want to see my pickle light up, don't you? Yeah, that's a big winner.
So I don't see any other questions that are coming in the chat, and nobody's unmuted. So we will be we'll send out Kris's contact information, so you guys will have her email address and be able to contact her if you have questions. But at this time, we're going to go with our gift card winners. And I think
That's me, isn't it?
that is you.
Looks like today a gift card winner from Enid Public Schools is Lindsay Watts.
And Lindsay, we will be mailing your gift card to you, so we'll get with you by email about an address for that. And then we also have a second $50 gift card winner today, and that winner is going to be Kylie Peeler from Mangum Public Schools. So we'll do the same thing with you, Kylie, and getting with you to get your information. So we want to say congratulations to our gift card winners. And we will, like I said, we'll get those in the mail to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much to Kris and Kiamichi Tech for providing this great information for us today. It was really exciting, and there was so much positive feedback in the chat, especially. We appreciate how you're helping to find ways to make connections in the virtual environment today with the classrooms. Be sure to watch for our information about our next OEIP session, which is scheduled on March the 25th. It'll be from 11 to noon as well. And during that time, we will look at exploring the construction industry. The registration will be on the ODCTE website once it is open. This concludes our OEIP for February. And again, we thank you for your participation and your support.